Obviously, for me, it's probably more risky because he's young. He's 20, can come again. For me, it's, obviously, a lot of big fights, obviously, different stage of a career. So
with Moses' style, he could be landing some serious bombs, sharp bombs, that do a lot of damage to Dillian early doors, so he can never get into the fight. I think it's stacked.
He's probably found it hard now to get that big fight. He's probably said, I'll fight Moses Itauma if you give me X amount of money. And that's probably why this fight's getting made. But
Dillian Whyte isn't sugarcoating it. He's been in the fight game long enough to recognize danger when it's right in front of him. And in Moses Itauma, danger arrives in a 20-year-old frame packed with frightening speed, raw knockout power, and the kind of confidence that unsettles seasoned heavyweights. Whitey knows exactly what he's walking into. For him,
obviously, I'm going up against the next Mike Tyson, as in he's been compared to Mike Tyson and a lot of great fighters. I'm just little old me. I never even been compared to a journeyman in the great era. He's been compared to Mike Tyson, so.
The stakes couldn't be higher. Itauma, still at the dawn of his career, has time on his side. A loss at this stage would sting, but youth allows him to dust himself off and rebuild. Whitey doesn't have that luxury. For him, time isn't just running out, it's breathing down his neck. One mistake, one slip, and the door could slam shut on any hope of a comeback. Deep down, Whitey
skill set, fast hands, footwork. From what I've seen, he's got a chin. Not that you need to be getting hit with these wild shots, because clearly you've done something wrong.
Knows this young lion may not even give him the chance to get started. Anthony Yarde doesn't hand out praise lightly. But when he talks about Moses Itauma, there's no hesitation. From the first time Yarde saw him as a teenager, he knew the kid was special. The hands, the speed, the footwork, the chin, and the mentality. Coming from a man who's been in the ring with Sergey Kovalev and Artur Beterbiev.
24 years old, who's got his always faculties right, getting trained by one of the best trainers in the United Kingdom. And then, mate, it's like you got more chance of winning the lottery than you beating that Moses Itauma.
That's not empty hype. Yarde is pointing to a rare combination of tools Itauma already possesses. When someone who has faced elite talent says a fighter is the real deal, you listen. For Whitey, that's another red flag. This isn't some untested hopeful. This is a fully prepared young heavyweight built for the big stage. Leave it to Derek Chisora to strip away the fluff. Beating Moses Itauma.
I think he's going to be in a tough fight. I know he's got the punch power to hurt and stop.
He says, isn't just unlikely. It's like winning the lottery. The comparison paints the picture perfectly. To Chisora, Itauma isn't just talented. He's a dangerous, well-schooled heavyweight with elite guidance behind him. If Whitey walks into that ring thinking it's just another fight, Chisora warns, he could find himself cashing in on a nightmare instead of a jackpot. Frank Warren has seen enough to know the difference between hype and the real thing. And he's crystal clear.
So that new star establishes himself, so we'll just wait and see, but it's exciting.
What do you make of Itauma versus Dillian Whyte?
It's a good fight. Dillian likes to fight. He'll have a tear up. Yeah. You can't test this man's cojones. He'll fight anybody and everybody. So with Dillian doing that, you think, you know what? It's a good fight, good testing fight, and
Moses Itauma has the power to stop Dillian Whyte in brutal fashion. Sure, Whitey can punch too, but Warren highlights the unknown. He hasn't been truly tested under fire for some time. That's a question mark. Warren seems more than willing to put to the test. A promoter who's guided countless champions doesn't speak casually. His confidence comes from years of watching talent mature into greatness. And in Itauma, he sees the makings of another star. Johnny Nelson puts it more politely, but the message is the same. When he calls this a good fight, what he really means...
But it'll be fascinating to see how Moses goes against Dillian. I don't think they put him in against Dillian Whyte if they think there's real jeopardy for them. I think they might get a few rounds and get asked a few more questions than possibly they've been asked by Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean.
...is that Whitey's role has shifted. In boxing, that phrase often translates to, you're the gatekeeper now. After knockout defeats, long stretches of inactivity, and failed title shots, Whitey's career has begun to resemble a revolving door. One that lets young contenders pass through on their way up. Moses Itauma looks ready to slam that door shut. Simon Jordan doesn't deal in romance. He sees the sport for what it is. A business. Promoters don't risk their prize 20-year-old unless they're confident he'll win. Itauma hasn't been matched recklessly. he's been dismantling opponents. Kamil Sokolowski and Kevin Espindola were supposed to test him. Instead, Itauma breezed past without breaking a sweat. For Whitey, the real danger isn't just Itauma's skills, it's the absolute belief his camp has in him. They're not planning to scrape by, they're planning to make a statement. And when you're brought in as the measuring stick for a young phenom
for 10 rounds, if it goes that, it goes that. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like these fights that I'm going into, I'm not going into them thinking I'm gonna knock him out in the first or second round. I'm going in thinking like, okay, cool, this is a 10-round fight.
History shows you usually end up on the wrong side of the highlight reel. What makes Itauma even more dangerous is his maturity. He's made it clear he isn't chasing an early knockout. Many young punchers load up and swing wildly, eager for a fast finish. Itauma is different. He's willing to break you down patiently, round by round, turning every exchange into a potential trap. His message to Whitey is brutally simple. I can beat you fast or I can beat you slow. Either way, I win. When a 20-year-old talks with the poise of a seasoned pro, it's usually bad news for the man standing across from him. Tony Bellew adds weight to the conversation with a comparison that raises eyebrows.
But he's the next in line. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's an outstanding talent. I think he's got a good team around him, Ben Davison and Lee Wiley. Wiley is the brains that study everything, and they use what we call video analysis now in boxing.
He mentions Alexander Usyk in relation to Itauma, even with caveats. You know you're dealing with something special. Bellew, who shared a ring with Usyk, calls Itauma the future of the heavyweight division. His point is clear: skill beats size, and Itauma has the skill set to trouble anyone. In Bellew's eyes, Whitey is no longer the hunter. He's the hunted, and Itauma is the predator closing in. For Spencer Oliver, the stakes go beyond simply winning. He believes Itauma must win well. Oliver sees the composure, the footwork, and the power of a future world champion. That kind of endorsement is dangerous for Whitey, because if Itauma dominates, the headlines won't focus on Whitey's defeat. They'll focus on the arrival of boxing's next big star. Ben Davis
knows it's last chance saloon for him. He needs the victory here. So, look, we find out just how good Moses Itauma is, I think, on the 16th of August when he boxes Dillian Whyte, because I think he wins it and wins it in style. But everyone they put in front of him so far, he's just dismantled. I think this kid's going to go on.
A trainer with experience at the highest level, has echoed the same sentiment. Itauma isn't just a prospect, he's a fighter ready to seize his moment. And for Dillian Whyte, that makes this fight less about redemption and more about survival. Because the truth is simple. Moses Itauma isn't coming to learn, he's coming to take. People aren't just predicting Moses Itauma to beat Dillian Whyte, they're predicting him to do it in 2 or 3 rounds. That says everything about the aura surrounding this kid. This isn't normal heavyweight talk. Usually the debate is whether a fight goes the distance or ends in a late stoppage. With Itauma, the only question being asked is how quickly will it end. That's not hype. That's respect and fear rolled into one. Whitey has been stopped before, and not by opponents with Itauma's frightening blend of speed and snap. If Itauma chooses...
Significant to me is when people, a lot of the time, a lot of the general public, you know, the expectation's almost like it's a 2 or 3 round job for Moses. And my opinion is if there was any other heavyweight in the world boxing Dillian Whyte, they wouldn't say it's a 2 or 3 round job. So I think that just tells you how highly people think.
Is not to blast him out early and instead drags him into deep waters. Ben Davison warns the result might be even worse. Every round would feel like the inevitable closing in. Peter Fury, as always, offers balance. Yes, Itauma could score another explosive early knockout, but there's also the possibility of a banana skin fight. The type where nothing goes to plan and a wily veteran drags you into an ugly, gritty scrap. That's the kind of test Itauma hasn't faced yet, and if it comes, it could prove the most valuable lesson of his career. Still, Fury admits the signs don't favor Whitey. In recent years, he hasn't shown the granite resilience needed to withstand a storm like this for long. Betting on experience alone against youth, speed, and power is a dangerous gamble. Liam Smith strips away sentiment. He respects Whitey, but in his view, the outcome is clear. Itauma wins and wins well. Whitey's peak is long behind him. Too many wars, too much wear and tear, too many knockout defeats. Itauma, by contrast, is fresh, hungry, and climbing fast. And when fighters like Smith call someone a special talent, they mean it. Dave Allen, who's felt heavyweight
Moses Itauma, or it could be a banana skin where he's in for a war and he could get dragged into deep water. Either way, it's good for Itauma because we're going to see what he's all about, you know. Or is he going to have another quick night? We have to see. Or Dillian Whyte could think to himself, yeah, he could be kryptonite for Itauma.
Power firsthand. Also tilts toward Itauma. He respects Whitey's punching ability and experience, but inactivity has dulled his edge. Fighters notice the little things: slower reflexes, hesitation, ring rust. Itauma has none of that baggage. He's sharp, active, and improving with each outing. Allen hints at the obvious truth. If Whitey doesn't land something huge early, this fight starts tilting heavily toward Itauma. The longer it goes, the more inevitable the result becomes. Then there's Anthony Joshua. When AJ says, "You've got the edge," it isn't small talk. He's sparred with Itauma, felt the speed, the sharpness, the weight of his punches. Joshua doesn't hand out compliments carelessly. He points to Itauma's great team because in boxing, the right corner turns raw talent into an unstoppable force. Joshua even admits he's still studying Itauma. You don't study someone unless they've shown.
Moses wins and wins well. I think he's a class act. I think Dillian's best days are probably behind him. And I think he's a special talent, Moses. So, you know.
Something you can't shake off. For Whitey, that's the loudest warning yet. If a man who's fought Klitschko, Usyk, and Ruiz pays that much attention to Itauma, it's not hype, it's reality. The atmosphere around this fight is electric, not just because Dillian Whyte's stepping back into the ring, but because across from him will stand Moses Itauma, a 20-year-old force of nature carrying the kind of buzz you can't manufacture. This isn't just another bout, it's a collision of eras. Whyte, once the relentless brawler chasing world titles, is now fighting to prove he's still relevant. Itauma walks in with speed, power, composure, and comparisons to champions before he's even touched world level. And that's the story. One man clinging to what's left.
Dillian Whyte's not been active with Itauma, so I make Itauma my favourite based on that, but Dillian Whyte's experience, he can punch. No result would surprise me, but I would.
The other ready to take it all. He's even fought for a belt. But if Moses Itauma wins and wins in the emphatic fashion so many expect, this could be the night he steps out of the prospect shadow forever. No longer just a rising talent, but an unavoidable problem for the entire heavyweight division. If Dillian Whyte shocks the world, the narrative flips on its head. A victory would breathe life back into a career most have already written off. That's the intrigue. Is this the story of the kid tearing through opponents, building an unstoppable reputation and carrying the weight of expectation like it's nothing? Or is it the tale of the veteran, desperate to hold on to a past slipping away, determined to prove the boxing world wrong one more time? The stakes aren't about belts or rankings, they're about legacy, about who owns the future. One man is trying to seize the torch, the other to keep it burning in his grasp. And when the bell rings, all the talk and predictions.
Honestly, and you're as good as your team, but I think he's got a really good team around him. After being in the ring with him and studying him, still studying him now, I think that he's the one to.
Vanish. Two heavyweights, one ring and one question that has echoed for months.